decades, and actually I have a nice. Actually, I got a pension from teaching. So, but one thing I always thought was kind of interesting in when teaching kids was something I would call education by surprise. This is my own theory and my own word, but in other words, you're going to educate people, educate kids without them realizing they're actually learning by having fun and by doing things, by activities. So with me, one thing that's always kept me educated and excited about a radio show is also the whole philosophy of education by surprise. Because I'm not presenting a traditional radio show. You're not going to hear the top 10, whatever, the top 100, whatever. You might not ever hear that. As a matter of fact, on my show, the guy following me, Basim, he goes, one day he comes and goes, I was trying to figure out how many songs you play in a year, and they're all different, So I tend to do that. I'll play some. I'll play something on occasion, but for the most part, I'm playing almost a complete original show every week. Not totally 100%, but at least in the high 90s. And so I don't have a playlist, so I'm making this playlist in my mind as well. And so what I'm doing then is like I'm exposing people to groups that when they hear it the first time, this could be their most favorite group they never heard before or didn't know that existed. And in my mind, groups from all over the world can fall within that classification. So for example, I feel like the blues guy Hound Dog Taylor rocked harder than most punk rock groups do. But he wouldn't be considered punk rock, but he rocked just as hard.
Yeah.
And you may have a funk group out of Senegal, or you may have a reggae group out of Nigeria or South Africa, or you can have a salsa group out of a different part of Africa. Or the opposite is true. You can have all those things in North America. In Mexico they have electronic music. So what I'm saying is that I can expose this to people. They can hear it, they can enjoy it, they can like it, and they're being educated without really realizing it. And so therefore it's education by surprise. And I think that's what's got me going.
Nice. Is that really how you go through your selection process of what songs to play? Or is there a difference?
Want to hear the dirty truth?
Yes.
I listen 3 seconds, and I can tell if I want
to listen on.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been doing it that long.
Yeah.
I can just hear it. I go bam, then I go back. But when I'm making my initial list, I go want this. So, and then I go from there.
Yeah.
And then when I do my show, I may have. I used to bring out like hundreds of stuff, but now I've toned it down to. I bring out a general playlist in my mind that may change as I'm progressing. Because a lot of my stuff will segue, and I may have like an older rock song and a funk song and an Afrobeat song. So I have to figure a way how I'm going to get from that point to that point, all within one show. And sometimes it's not always easy, but there's ways to do that. It's magic.
It's all magic. It's hard work. It's hard work and understanding the process itself. So, like we said, Dayton's had a very vibrant music history. We're good on time?
We're about 2:14. I should leave about 15 minutes.
Okay, we can start to wrap it up.
Okay.
What would you say is Dayton's greatest music legacy? A lot of people really, when they think of Dayton in music, it's kind of been forced to think about the funk music coming from out of here. Do you think that is really the only thing that Dayton's legacy is, or what would you say?
Well, I think Dayton, and I said before, I mentioned before about the Detroit thing. I think that because, and of course that changes now. It's not really the same thing. But I think that carries on. Okay, like for example, Austin is so gentrified. Everything that made Austin the desirable place to live. Now the people that made that desirable can't live there anymore.
Mhm.
But still, the music has been entrenched, so it's still there. So I think it's true with Dayton too. I think being an industrial city back years ago gave a lot of people an economic base in order to make and afford to make music.
Mhm.
So if your dad, let's say, is working in the GM plant, he's making a pretty good living. I mean, if in decades past, it wasn't too bad. You got insurance, you got a pretty good paycheck, and you could afford to give your kid some music lessons, or could afford to buy that guitar, And some of the groups like Slave, that's how they came in existence, Or after work, you would have time to work on your hobby of music. So I think that's really helped to date. And as a result, you had a lot of bluegrass music move to Dayton because there was factories here to work in. And so we had a pretty rich bluegrass tradition in Dayton, like Red Allen, for example, and his sons, the Red Allen brothers, and Harley Allen, who moved down to Nashville. And then you have, I think the same thing is especially true for the soul and funk sound. Again, you had an economic base where you could afford to buy some instruments and stuff. And you also had people moving here from other parts of the country, bringing that musical tradition here to work. So you had people from the South, from the hills, whatever, moving here to get that job, and then bringing a lot of their traditions, musical traditions, with them.
Mhm.
So I think that's sort of what created music as a musical hub. And I think that carries on because people have that musical tradition in their soul, their experience.
Mhm.
I don't know, does that make sense at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. So just kind of wrapping everything up, kind of a big theoretical question.
Theoretical, we're talking about.
If you could go to any concert, by any band,
Uh-huh.
when and where would you go?
When and where?
When and where, and who would you see?
You asked me a question I can't answer. I'll just tell you, I don't know. It's too many. I would tell you. I would like. I'll tell you. I wouldn't mind have seen. I wouldn't mind seeing Hank Williams. I wouldn't mind before he died. He's still young. I saw Bob Marley in concert before he died, and that was a very almost spiritual.
Mm-hmm. Is that a bigger venue or smaller?
It was a bigger venue.
Bigger venue?
Yeah, it was in a. It wasn't a big like arena.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a theater.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I would go see Dayton's Luxury Pushers
Mm-hmm.
at a crummy dive bar
Yeah.
on Halloween.
Halloween?
Yep. That's
Just-
my ideal show.
Just a random Halloween? Is
Yeah.
there any reason for the Halloween night?
They used to do a Halloween concert every year.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I won't keep you much longer now.
Okay.
Have a busy day. I just want to thank you for coming
Okay.
in for this.
Oh, I did I tell you some of the shows I did, places we used to do them at? I should tell you that real fast.
Let's-
To get that
let's
on
hear
here.
it.
Yeah, before we go.
Let's hear it.
I got about 10 minutes. I have to leave.
All right.
I was at some of the shows we used to do them at. We did shows at a defunct club called Sam's
Mhm.
that originally was like more of a bluegrass club. And Mick Montgomery started a Canal Street Tavern, also did a musicians co-op there. So that's where the musicians co-op started before he started Canal Street.
Mhm.
And Kim and Kelly played that. Dio played at that little musicians co-op thing as an acoustic, two-piece acoustic group before Kim moved to Boston. Okay, what was her name? Was it Mrs. Brown or something she called herself? The first Pixies, I forget.
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, cut
I'm
that
not
out. Then we did stuff at Sam's.
Mhm.
We did stuff at the Brookwood Hall, that I mentioned earlier. We did stuff at the Canal Street Tavern with Mick. I started my show the same year he started the Canal Street.
I miss the old Canal Street.
Yeah, we did shows. I did a lot of shows at Chili's.
Mhm.
And honest to God truth, why I would do a show at Chili's as opposed to Canal Street, because Jerry would not charge me for the sound system because he knew I'd bring a lot of bar money,
Mhm.
and he'd also borrow. This is the sole reason. It's absolutely true. And Jerry would also buy the band's cases of beer.
Nice.
So
Gotta
I
have
go.
those perks. Gotta have perks.
That's absolute honest truth.
Yeah.
That's all it took. So let's see, Chili's, Canal Street, Sam's, the Walnut Hills, the Walnut Hills bar. You did stuff. The Toxic Reasons first live show was at the Walnut Hills. Live outside of like a rec center or something. We did shows at Wright State. We did some at Wright State. We did some at University of Dayton, Antioch, and then a lot of these shows I did with the colleges. I would go approach like the students and say, "Hey, listen, I can bring Camper Van Beethoven in. Can you find a place for him?" You know, and they'd find a place we work together. And that's how that Kennedy's got out at Antioch. And it's really funny. I read these autobiographies by the group about the group that Gets, and when they were like a punk group, moved out to Seattle, and I think the young lady was in the group was an Antioch student. She had a terrible tragedy. She was murdered, so that's sort of the tragedy that Gets. But whenever they talk about the experience at Antioch, they always tell how they got Dead Kennedys to come to Antioch. I go, wait a minute, you guys would never had the Dead Kennedys if I didn't know Ken Lester and those guys.
Yeah.
but anyway, that didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a good time. But I'd worked a lot of time with students. We had I brought the Mechanic Commando Destruct. What do they call it? MDK from Germany played Rice State. That's a joke. Those guys were like crust punks from Berlin. That was an interesting night.
Yeah.
And then we had UD actually had 10 minutes of Talented Maniacs to play UD at the old Kennedy gym, whatever it's called. It wasn't an arena. It was at their the old basketball gym. And then let's see, one time at Chili's, it's a funny story. I was minding my own business at home. And True Believers from Austin were going to play. I had them scheduled to play Chili's, so they stayed at my place, which was like a old house, big house in the Dayton View area. And the True Believers are staying there. And then out of the blue, I mean, no warning, a bus shows up with a group from Italy called, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Okay. A group from Italy called the Cheetah Chrome Motherfuckers. and they were, Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys weren't in it. There was a cartoon character in Italy called, our cartoon, I don't know, comic guy, called Cheetah Chrome. So they were the Cheetah Chrome Motherfuckers. And the False Prophets from New York showed up at my house with my friend Ken Lester was touring with me. We don't have a place to play or stay, and we stay here. So I had those guys plus True Believers all staying in the house. And the Cheetah Chrome guys all spoke Italian. They could barely speak English. And the one guy, they're from Milan, had been so notorious he was kicked out of Milan because he was such a kind of a jerk. Actually.
Yeah.
He showed up. First thing he does, he finds out my wife was working at Miami Valley. He drops his pants and he goes, "What's going on here?" Trying to meet us. And she goes, looks at it, and she goes, "Well, first of all, you might want to start thinking about taking a bath." And you have scabies.
We need a shot of penicillin.
Yeah, right. And it's like, just bam, like.
Yeah.
And then anyway, so they didn't have a place, so we ended up putting them all, I don't know how I talked Jerry Gelati into it. We put them all in this very respectable jazz club. We had the True Believers, Cheetah Chrome Motherfuckers, and the False Prophets play at Chili's. And then the Cheetah Chrome boys were funny because two of the guys were kind of cute little young, pretty Italian boys, and they had all Italian leather pants, leather, everything, So I lived in my house, and they were staying at my place, which was in Dayton View, off of Broadway. Everybody calls it West Dayton now, I called it Dayton View back then. And they decided they're going to take a walk. So they take a walk in the neighborhood. And they come back, and at that time hip hop was taking off.
Mm-hmm.
They came back in all like Nikes and Run DMC gear.
It's just straight tracksuits.
Yeah, right. And what they had done, they met some kids in the park and traded their leather for the hip hop clothes.
That's awesome.
I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so my friend, well, they got taken. I said, no, they didn't get taken. They got what they wanted, and the kids got what they wanted. So to me, it was like it was a fair trade.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was some of the
That's very cool.
many stories that went on beneath the scenes.
Yeah.
I was the first person. This was a little brag. I was the first person to play hip hop in Dayton. It's my radio show.
Do you remember what the first album was?
I can't tell you what the first one of this program was still alive.
Is there any pushback against that?
There was actually, because people were expecting me to play a certain genre, and I was playing hip hop, and I was like, well, hip hop to me was at that time, not so much now. At that time, I thought was as rebellious in its own way as punk rock was, and that was my particular logic. Was I liked it all. I liked it. I liked the graffiti scene along with it, and like the dance subculture, hip hop dance. I liked the whole thing. It was like a whole entire mixture all into one package. And actually, there was a Dayton guitar. I think I told Ellie in her thing on Dayton Funk. There was a Dayton guitarist named. They call him Little Axe. I can't remember his real name. I can't remember. Skip McDonald. Skip McDonald played guitar from this area. And according to Skip, he taught Roger Troutman how to play guitar. And there's no way for me to prove or disprove that, so I figure it's true. Anyway, Skip was in the original Sugar Hill gang. He did all that original music, the background music for all those original Sugar Hill with Keith LeBlanc. The music for, I forget the woman's name, did Sugar Hill, but that whole, all that early stuff on Sugar Hill, where it was Little Axe's guitar work, which I thought was kind of interesting. He now lives in London.
Very cool.
So, so I should shut up, I guess.
Oh no, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Okay. I had to get, okay, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right, just one last little question. Do you still get out to any live shows at all?
You know what? I'm a lot closer to death than I am to 20. So
Yeah.
I go out on occasion, but not as much.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's just this. I get tired easier.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only 26. It's 9 o'clock. I really want to be asleep.
Right, but I do like going out on occasion. I mean, I go out on occasion, but probably not as much as. I mean, I used to be like Monday night. Sure, I'll go out and go to work the next day.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder.
Right. Although I remember teaching one time, when some kid goes up to me, and goes, "Had a rough night last night, huh, Mr. Carter?" I go, "More than you think."
That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you again for
Thank you.
coming
Thank
to sit
you.
down.
I hope this turned out okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.